The TFL Off-road Ineos Grenadier series is brought to you by Magna, makers of high-quality technology and parts for the next generation of cars and trucks, including the Grenadier.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of our Ineos Grenadier series. And if you've been watching the series, you know we bought it, took it off-road, took it to Moab, compared it to a 4Runner.
And in today's video, well, we've owned this for close to 2,000 miles, and we're going to tell you what we love and hate about it after driving it on the highway, in the city, daily driving with it, living with it, driving it in the snow, our first initial ownership impression.
So do you want to start with the stuff we love or the stuff we hate?
Well, let's start with the things we love.
Okay, all right.
And Dad, we have to start with the most obvious thing.
The fact that it's blue.
Yes, that. And it just looks so freaking cool. Everywhere you drive this, people are looking, they're asking you about it. It's such a purposeful design that I think looks cooler than any new car for sale today. You can take that one to the bank because this is a phenomenal design.
Yeah, it's kind of looks like a Defender had a love affair with a G-Wagon and the Ineos Grenadier was born.
Exactly, Dad, but every part of this vehicle is squared off, flat, it's all modular, there's exposed screws everywhere. This is like the opposite of the luxury refined experience. This is old school, rugged, durable, replaceable. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to show you this little badge here, and I think this kind of expresses it best. This is Grenadier built for purpose, and I would say the best thing about this, and what I love about, you know, hardcore off-roaders, which this is, triple lock, is that it's purposeful, right? Everything you see here has a purpose. It's not fake hood scoops. It's not, you know, weird aero aids. It's everything you need and more, and nothing you don't.
All right, so the next thing I love about this vehicle, Dad, I'm actually, and this is going to be controversial, really digging the powertrain. So this uses a BMW B58 3-liter inline 6-cylinder engine, and it is an awesome unit, Dad. I've been really impressed with its performance. I also, by the way, I don't know
where to put that, huh?
No, there's actually 2 different latches. Did you know that on this vehicle? So you got one here,
yeah.
Or if you don't like that one, you can actually remove the prop rod and put it into a position so you can reach this one.
So one's like for mechanics and one's just for admiring what BMW has built.
Now, here's why I like this engine, Dad. It is smooth. It is plenty powerful, 332 pound-feet of torque, right around 280 horsepower, and
reliable? Is that the word you're looking for?
Well, we're not sure yet, because it's only 2,000 miles. It's the same engine used in a Toyota, the Supra, so that gives me some hope, but it's turbocharged. And driving this over the mountain passes, we were in that 4Runner, screaming its nuts off at 6,000 RPMs, trying to get up some of those 9,000-foot passes. This thing, 6/7 gear, into boost, zooming up. Plenty power.
How about the 8-speed automatic?
ZF.
Yeah.
I really think that's going to be a long-lived transmission. They use it in everything across many manufacturers, and it's smooth. It's always in the right gear. You know, the powertrain, a lot of folks want an LS from GM, a Toyota engine. I'm actually so far really impressed with this BMW lump.
All right, let's get to my next favorite thing, and that is, come on over here and you can kind of do a walk around. All of the things that you can configure with this vehicle. I've never seen a vehicle out of the box that has so many off-road goodies from the factory. So let's start with the fact that an $80,000 vehicle actually has Steelies, Tommy.
I'm not sure that's a love, Dad.
No, but it's still...
I think most people would prefer maybe a little bit of an alloy situation, but it is purposeful.
Which you can also get.
Yeah.
These BFG KO2s, which are also snow rated, triple snowflake rated, are from the factory. You can get... rock rails, which are incredibly useful. I'm not sure how useful these things are. Now, these are little bands that you can eventually attach things to, like jerry cans or axes.
Well, we didn't get the utility belts, but you can get the little holes. Look, that you're missing the cool stuff.
Okay, keep going. You keep going.
The roof rack, and the ladder, and the red painted frame, and the safari windows on the roof, and the contrasting top, and all of these things to make this vehicle your very own. There's so many things. You can get it with dual batteries. You can get it with 4 power points in the roof so that you can power stuff on the rooftop tent. I mean, there's so much you can do with this vehicle. Magna is a global automotive engineering and manufacturing giant and one of the key partners in the Ineos Grenadier. You want to build and manufacture a 4x4 from scratch? Magna can do it. Let me show you what they did on our Grenadier. From the very start, Magna was involved in designing and manufacturing the Grenadier's ladder frame for maximum stiffness, strength, and flexibility. It's a proven, tough design for best off-road performance. The fully boxed design means that adding underbody protection, beefy bumpers, and recovery points don't compromise the structural integrity of the frame. To find out more about what Magna is doing with Ineos and a bunch of other global automotive brands, be sure to click the link in the description below.
What do you think of that kind of funky split tailgate?
Well, here's the next thing I love about it.
Tailgate, it's a
swing gate.
swing gate.
So the vehicle on camera looks like Wrangler, Bronco, 4Runner size.
Yeah.
But this thing's like 10 inches wider than a 4Runner.
It is super wide.
And it is a perfect box. And I was just talking to Alex Dykes, Auto Buyer's Guide, and we were discussing the cargo area in this, and they use a European metric to measure the cargo space. Doesn't look that impressive on paper. In person, it's huge. It is positively enormous. Like, I am over 6 feet tall, and sitting down, I have like 4 inches of headroom to the ceiling. I mean, the amount of stuff you can stack in this perfect square box is incredible. It's such a great space to carry stuff.
Yeah, and kind of carrying on with that purposefulness, I love the fact, like, how they've tucked in the exhaust pipes, right? So that it doesn't detract from the departure angle.
Yeah, right. 100%. And the last thing I'm going to talk about while we're out here.
Well, how about this too? Look at that. Full tools.
Yeah, you got your little toolkit.
Yeah, I mean, I know, a lot of cars have toolkits, but that's also old school.
These got to be, you got to push in vertical.
Oh.
And then make it horizontal.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
I freaking love that this is one of the very last vehicles sold today with a solid front axle. One of the last wagon design vehicles, not a truck, that has a true front locking diff, skid plates, the hardware is there. This thing has axles from like a minibus or a tractor. The company that makes these axles, it's a tractor company.
You forgot the most important thing. Look, from the factory, a snorkel.
No, I don't love the snorkel.
You don't love the snorkel?
No, that I think was a miss to spec that.
Why do you hate the snorkel?
Well, because you can't go through the brushed car washes and it makes a little noise on the highway and you don't get any more water fording.
Oh, come on. If there's anything that says off-roader more than snorkel, I don't know.
Yeah, but I might skip the snorkel next time.
All right. I also love the color. I think the color is beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's Eldoret blue.
Yep.
This is it's a bit of an option, but it's definitely worth it. And I think that's it on the outside. Let's go inside.
Well, let's hop inside. What's that, Tommy?
That right there is the little horn, and then this is the big horn. And you can play them both at the same time. This is like the bicycle horn, or realistically, the texter at the stoplight horn. Hey, pay attention, the light just turned green.
Yeah, I love that, and I love this, Tommy. I love all these physical controls and the way they're laid out. It looks so, once again, purposeful.
And the roof buttons, it's like an Airbus. Look at that, preparing for landing. That's awesome. Locking this on the roof, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
And this is cool, off-road mode, which actually is very smart, because once you engage that, you can do things like actually ride around without your seatbelts. I know that may seem dangerous, but when you're off-roading, you spend a lot of time jumping in front of the car to see, how much clearance you have, jumping back in the car. And so actually not having to have your seatbelt on off-road when you're going slowly is very convenient.
Yeah, lots of good. I also like the manual selector for the transfer case. And this is one of the few vehicles you can buy where you can go in a low range with the center diff unlocked, so you don't get any crabbing in low range, which is very cool.
I also love the steering wheel. I just think that's very...
Two-spoke,
very purposeful.
Really cool. And I like these Recaro seats. They're actually quite comfortable. Once again, I think the biggest takeaway in here is the build quality. Everything is incredibly tight. Nothing really seems to rattle. It really feels well screwed together. Look, considering it's a startup.
You've got a handhold there. You've got one as well. I've got one here. I mean, it's just really built for good, solid off-roading. So shall we now go to the things we do not like?
Yeah, let's
let's turn around. Let's start with that.
Well, the turning circle is not very good. It's
glacial.
Yeah, it's pretty Battleship-like. And when you're trying to maneuver around the inevitable Whole Foods parking lot, you're going to be upsetting a few people because it's kind of an arm workout to get this thing turned around. And that really, Dad, is going to be...
Can you stop for a second? I'll show you something else I really don't like.
Okay.
All right. Pull the key out, would you? Put it in park. Turned off. This is something I don't also like.
Why? It's purposeful.
I mean, every $20,000 car now has a push-button start, and this has a key, but... Here's the part I want to demonstrate. Alex, if you could focus on that little screen, you'd think that that is a screen that you could see your speed in, or you could maybe see, look at all those warning lights. That's just silly, Tommy.
Well, it's your telltale. That's where they put the warning lights. The speed is over here in the middle.
Wouldn't it be nice if you had the speed there, that was a digital display as opposed to a bunch of warning lights?
Okay, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, they should do that.
And then look at this. $80,000. Where's my electric seat?
Well, Dad, it's purposeful. This is a vehicle designed to be simple, easy to understand.
There are just as many computers under this as in any BMW. So, yeah, I mean, purposeful and simple are two different things. These are heated seats, which we're missing, right, for $81,000, which is also kind of frustrating. Now, perhaps let's just show them the most frustrating thing of all when we start driving, because it has such a massive fault that it would actually keep me from buying it again unless they fix it. So you want to demonstrate that when we make this left turn.
Yeah, this one really makes you grumpy.
Oh, it makes me so grumpy.
Yeah, so this vehicle has a speed warning. If you exceed the speed limit, it actually starts clicking at you. And it is pretty constant and very, very tiresome. And you have to, there it goes. It's clicking at me. I'm doing 22 and a 25 now, but it was 20. But if you go just a little bit over the speed limit, it starts clicking at you. And I think this is a European regulation thing, but you have to turn it off every time you drive the car. And there it goes again. At best, you have to push favorite.
Well, show them how normally you turn it off. Show them how hard it is to turn it off.
Well, I have it set up as my favorite.
Right.
I can just click it off.
Right. But normally there's like 10 different
menus. If you don't, yeah, you got to go to, let's go to home screen, settings, vehicle functions. Then we're going to go to ADAS systems. Then we're going to go to intelligent speed assist, and then you can click it off there. So, having to do that every single time you drive the car, it's pretty annoying.
You would think that like once you turn it off, it would stay off, but no. Every time you get in the car, when you stop at the grocery store, when you stop at the gas station, it'll click at you because inevitably you forget about it, and it's just so silly, and it's so stupid annoying, Tommy. It's just stupid annoying. And Ineos says, or at least the dealer says, that they are working on a fix, but it's not over the air.
You get used to it.
Sure, yeah, right. You get used to it.
What is a little harder to get used to for a lot of folks, Dad, I'm going to make this 90-degree right.
Yeah, and show them what happens when you make a turn.
You make the turn,
yep.
You expect it to self-center, and you go right into the hedge. Because this vehicle has incredibly slow steering. It's very vague and super slow. It's an off-road steering system, right? They don't want you to break your thumb by hitting a rock off-road, so they make it very slow, and they make it...
I would use wandery. That would be a good term.
Here's another turn, right?
Yeah, sure.
So in most cars, you make the turn, and then you kind of let the wheel slide through your hand. You make the turn, it starts to slide, and then into a tree. It moves very slow. So you spend a lot of time kind of driving in a 1930s movie where you're just like correcting and steering. I don't mind it because I'm used to driving 40-year-old Jeeps that barely steer at all.
Yeah, if you're coming out of a Wrangler,
you're gonna be fine.
You're going to be fine. If you're coming out of a Jeep, what's the best? It's somewhere between a Wrangler and a G-Wagon. That's kind of... Actually,
well, I think it's worse than the Wrangler.
It's worse. No.
So, like, look, it doesn't self-center hardly at all. I mean, it's so slow to return to the middle. So
you think if you were to rate the steering, you would put this below a Jeep Wrangler?
Well, it depends. If you're driving off-road, it's a 10 out of 10. If you're driving on-road, then yeah, I kind of think it's worse than the Wrangler. It's just not very good.
And having said that, what makes it so painful to steer on-road also makes it exceptional off-road. In our Moab video, this thing did not put a wheel wrong. It just is unstoppable. The steering, which is slow and kind of dumb-witted on-road, just feels confidence-inspiring and incredibly off-road worthy when you're in the dirt.
Well, you can also be super, super precise with wheel placement, which is great. So 25 miles an hour, let's see if the speed limit thing adjusts. Oh, it does. So at least the speed limit thing is right. It just beeps at you if you go 1 mile an hour.
All right, well, let's talk about power. Maybe go to the stop sign, hang a right, and kind of give it the beans and see how it accelerates, because, of course, this is a very wide vehicle and a very squared-off vehicle. So even though it does have a powerful BMW straight six, which, by the way, is one of the smoothest engines on the market, 300 horsepower, is kind of okay for this, but you'll show them.
I think it's plenty. You got to understand that the Grenadier weighs 5,800 pounds. This is such a heavy vehicle. But with that in mind, when you floor it, you got a nice little turbo whistle.
Yeah, that's good.
Wow, it moves pretty good.
Yeah, it doesn't actually sound like a BMW engine.
I think it's got a little BMW sing to it.
You think so?
Yeah, it does. It's very muffled because there's quite a bit of insulation, but it sounds pretty good. And actually, on the highway at speed, this vehicle is very, very refined. doesn't make excessive noise, it doesn't jolt you in weird ways, but it is missing a lot of stuff that you might expect for an $80,000 vehicle. It's got no blind spot monitoring, it's got no adaptive cruise control, it has no lane tracing, it's got a lot of the stuff that every Toyota has that this vehicle doesn't.
Yeah, it has no heated steering wheel, like I said, no power seats,
yeah.
no heated seats, but it does have wireless Apple CarPlay, which is nice.
Great. Yeah, I've been using it all the time. We got Onyx Off-Road incorporated in here, which is our #1 go-to off-road navigation software. You can find trails and the difficulty and figure out what other users think all on one app, and that works with Apple CarPlay.
Why don't you show them the entire screen, because that's another thing I don't like. It's kind of gray and black. Why do the British not use colors in their screens?
It's a little bland, and there's quite a bit of glare, and they design their own infotainment system, which is a little slow.
I mean, look how crappy that looks.
Yeah, but look at the off-road pages. Check this out.
It's a little slow,
once it loads. Yeah, okay, there we go. Look, you've got your attitude there.
But why can't they be like red, white, or blue? Why is it so boring and,
Tire temperature with the Y? How awesome is that?
That is awesome.
It is very monochromatic.
You want to turn around?
Yeah, we can turn around.
Yeah, turn around, head back. Yeah, it is very monochromatic, and I don't understand why they can't make it a little bit more fun. I mean, compare that to like GM's very colorful system.
Never asked me to turn around in this car.
Sorry.
No problem.
Well, just go. There you go. You just take it off-road. This is an off-road video
We're
anyway.
right through this mud hole here.
Yeah,
now.
see, we always go off-road in our off-road videos. Look how competent it does the mud, Tommy.
It does work.
Just go slow, because you're going to shoot mud all over these cyclists.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, we don't want to cover them in dirt. Hey, they waved us.
They waved.
And that is the thing that I love about this. People just really connect with this vehicle. I mean, there is something so honest and off-road friendly here, especially in Colorado, where people actually take vehicles off-road, where this is a car that attracts other people, like bears to bees.
Yeah,
bears to hunting.
People are really into it. You drive along, everybody is asking you questions about it. I haven't found someone that's like, "Ooh, that doesn't look cool." A lot of people think it's an old Defender, but it's something really unique. This has no Land Rover parts in it whatsoever. This is a ground-up design by Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his team. So it's got a lot of really great merits, Dad.
Yeah, it's also one of those vehicles that's kind of international, right? So it was designed by a Brit. Mm-hmm. It's built in a German factory in France, because the factory used to be a Mercedes factory.
Yeah, and actually they had to keep building smart cars there for a while under contract.
Where do the axles come from?
It's Italian axles. It's got a German engine, built in France, designed in the UK.
Yeah.
That is about as worldly as you're going to get in Europe.
It could also be one of those jokes, where you make fun of the Europeans. But I think in this case, all that international input into this vehicle actually made it very desirable.
Yeah, and look, the big question we still don't know, what is the longevity going to be like? In about 2,000 miles, we've been averaging 17, 18 mpg, which has been much better than I was expecting for a brick. No mechanical issues, just a few screen glitches, especially related to speed. But we're going to hold on to this car, Dad, for a bunch more months. Now that we have these 4, and we've got a 5th bonus episode coming, which is live on Patreon right now for all of our Patreon followers. We go even deeper into Moab and do some scraping and crawling and try out the diff locks. But now that we've gone through that, we've got a bunch of other kind of fun stuff planned over the summer and go from there. Look, people are nobody knows what it is. They always look at it.
Just see all those people are like, what is that?
And it's not pretentious, right? No one is like, oh, look at that guy in the G-Wagon. It's just a weird blue thing with the white roof that looks vaguely British.
I think if you've gone and owned a Wrangler, and then maybe you were enticed to buy a Bronco, and now you want to move on to the next coolest thing, this is a perfect vehicle for you if you love off-roaders. I promise you will be the only one on your street, no, dare I say, in your town, to have one of these. Because right now, there are currently, only 18 dealerships around the country?
Yeah, which is a pretty big downside. If this thing breaks, we're driving 2 hours south to get it fixed. Which is something worth noting, 100%. But Dad, let's wrap this puppy up, and we'll let people know. Is it worth buying?
Yeah, that's the question hopefully we set out to answer. So Tommy, is it worth buying?
Yes. I'm going with yes. If it can be as consistently reliable as it has been the first 2,000 miles, then yeah, this thing's awesome.
That speed warning drives me crazy, Tommy.
It's expensive. It's 80 grand for this one, which is a lot of money, but you can now spec a Bronco into the 80s. You can spec a Wrangler into the 90s, so it's expensive, no doubt. but it isn't expensive compared to like a G-Wagon, which is kind of its primary competitor.
And it has 1,500 pounds of payload. That's like a full-size truck.
And 7,700 pounds of towing, so it's got some good capability. You just have to pay for it.
All right, we'll come back next time when Tommy takes us and actually puts the triple locker to some good use in Moab, and we actually see if all that on-road wanderingness pays off in off-road goodness.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Ciao.